When people think of Japanese food, they might think sushi, ramen, Wagyu, but here's the thing. Japan's food culture runs much deeper. Hi everyone, it's Abby from Pictour. I'm a photographer and guide in Japan. You can see more about me here. And today I'm giving you 10 popular Japanese foods and what you should try instead. These are dishes you can find easily as a traveler. They are delicious and they'll give you a new angle on Japanese food culture. Starting with sushi. So, of course, sushi is the big one. Sushi has always been one of my favorite foods, and it's something that the more I've gone out of my comfort zone and tried more things, the more I've come to love it. Whereas I grew up in the States eating mainly sushi rolls, whether California rolls or spider rolls or little rolls with like avocado or cream cheese or whatever inside, the sushi here is simply not the same. I actually have a whole video about sushi, which I recommend watching, of course, but it'll teach you a lot about how to approach sushi when you get here, especially if you don't have a lot of experience with it. But now, let me introduce to you a similar but different food, kaisendon, the seafood rice bowl. This is sushi rice topped with sashimi, and it's basically sushi without the ceremony, but still with the same freshness. Why should you try it? Well, firstly, I like that you often get a wider variety of fish in one bowl than you would in a sushi meal. And if you're not sure about ordering some sushi at a restaurant, but you want to try some new stuff, having a little of all different kinds of fish can be great. But alternatively, you can also order a kaisendon with just one fish that you like, maybe literally just all salmon or all tuna. Second, compared to going to a fancy sushi restaurant, you can eat a pretty fancy little bowl sometimes for cheaper. And third, if you are a hungry person, you can easily load up on the rice, and the portions are generally generous of rice, so you're more likely to leave full. So where can you find it? Well, kaisendon is best found at fish markets, such as Tsukiji Outer Market in Tokyo or Nishiki Market in Kyoto. But there's many casual seafood restaurants and even station bento shops will sometimes have kaisendon. Pro tip, add a little soy sauce and wasabi straight onto the fish, not the rice. Number 2 is ramen. So you know ramen. There's a nearly endless number of types of ramen too, and yes, I have a video about ramen. Check it out. But whereas many people only think about ramen as hot noodle soup, I want to introduce something a little different, and that is tsukemen. So tsukemen is when the noodles in the soup are served separately. The soup is usually thicker, almost like a sauce, and the noodles are firmer and chewier. So you dip each bite instead of slurping from a bowl. Why should you try it? Well, it has a totally different texture and flavor balance compared to ramen. The noodles are usually awesome. I love the hardiness of tsukemen's noodles. It's a little bit denser and has a stronger bite to it without being like chewy. So it's very satisfying to eat. The soup is also very rich and concentrated. It's usually full of pork, chicken, seafood umami, and if you like rich flavors, this is definitely for you. Also, some people don't love soup, which is fine. So if you want to enjoy ramen without feeling like you're eating soup, try tsukemen. Where can you try tsukemen? Well, the home of tsukemen is Taishoken in Tokyo, but many ramen chains also will have a tsukemen option on the menu. Pro tip, ask for noodle temperature. So by default, the noodles will come at a room temperature, and this will have like a firmer bite. But if you want hot noodles, you can request to make them hot, and it'll feel more like ramen. So just ask the staff before, obviously, they bring the noodles, and you can get it heated up. A second pro tip is that you can also heat up the sauce itself. So if your sauce starts to cool down, you can request to have it heated up, and they'll literally just like microwave it and bring it back to you. I do not like room temperature food, so I always get both of these things as hot as they will let me. Number 3 is tempura. Tempura is a staple, especially with soba noodles or as a set meal. And my favorite daily tempura restaurant in Japan is Marugame Seimen, where you can enjoy udon with a healthy serving of tempura on the side. However, in Osaka, there's a fried food style that feels much more local, and that is kushikatsu. If you watch my Shinsekai video, you might be familiar with this. So kushikatsu is skewers of meat, vegetables, seafood, even cheese or mochi, dipped in batter and deep fried. It's very crispy. Why should you try it? It's fun and casual. You order a lot of small skewers and you can just share. And I love a meal where you can order a bunch of different little things and just try everything. And also, the range is pretty wild. So, outside of the basics, you have things like lotus root, quail eggs, pork belly, pumpkin, shrimp, cheese, and mochi. And lastly, there's usually a big communal sauce pot that they will bring that you can dip your kushikatsu in. But the rule is very clear: never double dip. Osaka's Shinsekai district is the home of kushikatsu, but you'll find shops all over Japan. Pro tip: pair it with a highball or a cold beer. Number 4 is onigiri. Onigiri. So you'll definitely try a convenience store onigiri. These are rice balls wrapped in seaweed, stuffed with salmon, tuna, mayo, pickled plum, or literally whatever else they feel like putting in it. Yes, I have a video on that. But another portable, underrated snack is inari sushi. What is inari sushi? It is sushi rice tucked into sweet, simmered tofu skin. It is both savory and slightly sweet with a soft texture. Why should you try it? Well, inari is one of the cheapest sushi options, often just 100 to 150 yen each. The flavor is very comforting and slightly sweet, making it different from the usual sushi roll. And if you get it at a sushi restaurant, it works great at the end, kind of like a dessert. They're also very easy to grab from convenience stores, supermarkets, or bento shops. A cultural note is that inari sushi is named after the Shinto goddess Inari, whose foxes are said to love fried tofu. Number 5. So, udon. Tourists often rave about chewy udon noodles, but I think soba deserves just as much attention, and honestly, it gets overlooked way too often. So, what is soba? They are thinner noodles made from buckwheat flour, sometimes mixed with a little wheat to keep them springy. They've got this light brown color and a really distinct nutty flavor that's very different than udon or ramen noodles. Historically, buckwheat grows really well in Japan's mountain regions in places where rice was harder to farm. So soba kind of became the local staple food in those areas, and over time it spread all across Japan. What I love about soba is that it feels a little more refined, but still simple. Why should you try soba? Well, soba can be eaten hot or cold, hot in a soothing broth, or chilled, which is called zaru soba, with a dipping sauce. So good year round. And it's considered a healthier noodle, so higher in fiber and protein than udon. Where to try it? So many places, but I like Owariya in Kyoto, which is one of Japan's oldest soba shops. Pro tip: at the end of a cold soba meal, the server brings hot soba water, sobayu, to mix with your dipping sauce, kind of like they would for tsukemen. This turns it into a warm soup. I highly recommend not skipping this step. Number 6 is Wagyu. So everyone dreams of eating Wagyu beef in Japan, but to be real, it can get expensive, especially if you're thinking of those fancy teppanyaki counters or Michelin star steakhouses. And yes, I have a video on Wagyu, so you don't get scammed by the lame stuff either, because a lot of you hear Wagyu and think, sounds good, but there's a lot more to Wagyu than you might realize. Regardless, the good news is that there's an alternative that still gives you that incredible Wagyu experience, but in a more casual and fun style, and that is gyukatsu. So gyukatsu is a breaded beef cutlet. So imagine tonkatsu, the pork cutlet, which is got a crispy golden brown coating on the outside, but instead of pork inside, it is juicy beef. The key is that it's only fried really quickly, so the inside stays rare and super tender, while the outside has that crunch. Why should you try it? Well, if I haven't told you already, I don't know what to tell you, but the combination is amazing. You get the richness of beef with the texture of a cutlet, which is hearty but also refined. Also, some restaurants will bring out little personal hot stones at your table, and that way you can sear each slice just the way you like it. You can either keep it more rare, or you can cook it through a little bit more if you don't like that. So hands-on as well. And compared to a Wagyu steak dinner, gyukatsu feels more approachable. You don't need to worry about ordering like the right cut or spending too much money. It's really more casual, but still memorable. Cultural note: gyukatsu only became popular fairly recently, around the 2010s, but it exploded because it gives people a way to enjoy Wagyu in a more relaxed setting, and it's especially popular with younger people and travelers who want to try something unique, but maybe not spend the whole budget on beef. Where should you try it? Gyukatsu Motomura in Tokyo is a popular chain that specializes in this dish, and in Kyoto Gyukatsu Katsu is good and has like a billion locations somehow. Next up is tamagoyaki. So you know tamagoyaki, maybe. The fluffy rolled omelet, which is a sushi shop favorite. Sushi shop. Say that like 5 times fast. Sushi shop. But for something more unique to Japan, try oden. I showed you all oden in my Kuromon market video, and it's really one of my favorite foods to enjoy in winter. What is oden? It is a simmered stew of ingredients like boiled eggs, daikon radish, konnyaku, fish cakes, tofu, and more, all cooked in a light soy dashi broth. Why should you try it? Because I said so, but also because it's the ultimate winter comfort food in Japan. You get to mix and match whatever you like, and the broth flavors everything, so even a simple egg tastes so amazing. Where can you find it? Well, you can find it at any convenience store once the weather starts to get chilly. That's kind of the Japanese, kind of fall has arrived indicator. But izakaya, or Japanese pubs, often serve oden too. Pro tip, when you get it from a convenience store, it's often self-serve. So you'll get a little to-go container and then pick up the tongs and just choose whatever you want. But sometimes at some places, you just have to point, and don't be shy, just point to whatever you want and enjoy. Number 8 is matcha sweets. So everyone knows Japan for matcha parfaits, matcha lattes, matcha ice cream, but one sweet that deserves more love is warabi mochi. What is warabi mochi? It is a soft jelly-like sweet made from bracken starch rolled in roasted kinako. So that might sound very appealing to you, but it's basically a soft mochi in a roasted soybean flour that's kind of peanutty. And sometimes you also top it with black sugar syrup. It is very light and simple and nutty and soft and sweet, and the kinako roasted soybean coating adds a nutty flavor that's really different from matcha. Where can you find it? You can find it anywhere from convenience stores to department store food halls, but I highly recommend also trying it from more of a specialized mochi shop or wagashi shop where you can get it and maybe it's a step above the convenience store level, because although the convenience store stuff is good, when you get properly made warabi mochi. Number 9, hamburgers. So hopefully you know what a hamburger is. But in Japan, the comfort food equivalent is not a sandwich at all. Instead, it's Hamburg steak or Hamburg. So Hamburg is a thick, juicy ground beef patty without the bun. It's usually mixed with onion, egg, and breadcrumbs to give it a softer and more tender texture, and then is pan fried until it's golden on the outside but still moist inside. I kind of think of it as a meatloaf in hamburger form. But instead of ketchup or mustard, it's usually topped with sauces like demi-glaze or soy-based gravy or grated daikon with ponzu. It also usually comes as a set meal with like rice, veggies, maybe even miso soup. So it feels very Japanese, even though the inspiration came from the West. Why should you try it? Well, besides being scrumptious, it is a true yoshoku dish. Yoshoku is Western-inspired Japanese food that's been around since the early 1900s. So even though this is kind of a Western-y food, it is kind of Japanese by this point, if you will. So Hamburg is considered family food. It's something kids eat at school lunch or families order at diners, and it's very nostalgic for a lot of Japanese people. So where can you find it? Well, family restaurants like Buckwheat are super famous for Hamburg. Buckwheat is a highly recommended chain restaurant from me. You have so many options of Hamburg here, and it comes with this really scrumptious like radish little salad on the side and rice, and they make really massive sized hamburgers as well. So no, I'm not sponsored by Buckwheat, but I ate there for lunch today, so I just gotta tell you to eat there too, because It's phenomenal. But you can also find hamburg at yoshoku cafes, often like teishoku or set meal restaurants. And around Shizuoka, sawayaka is super good, super juicy, but you will need to show up early and get a number ASAP. Also, pro tip, if you want to try something different, try the wafu hamburg. Wafu is like Japanese style because this has ponzu and daikon, grated daikon radish, and it's very like refreshing and distinctly Japanese. So it gives you a little more like Japanesey experience. Number 10 is yakisoba. Most tourists are familiar with yakisoba. Stir-fried noodles with pork, cabbage, and a sweet savory sauce, often eaten at summer festivals. But Japan doesn't stop there. One of the most fun, underrated spins on it is omusoba. Omusoba takes classic yakisoba and wraps it inside a thin omelet, and then tops it with okonomiyaki sauce, Japanese mayo, and bonito flakes. Think of it as the street food cousin of omurice, but instead of rice inside the omelet, you get saucy noodles. So why should you try it? Because it's good. It's indulgent. It's very filling, and it's the right level of messy late night izakaya food. Where can you try it? You can find it at most okonomiyaki restaurants, neighborhood diners, and sometimes at food stalls during festivals. It's not like a tourist famous dish, but locals love ordering it as a casual treat. So those are the 10 Japanese foods and their lesser known but equally delicious alternatives. So next time you're in Japan, by all means, please enjoy the classics that I've mentioned, like sushi or tempura. But if you want to go a little deeper, look for these alternatives as well. Let me know in the comments which one you'd like to try first, and if you've already been to Japan, which dish surprised you the most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.